What's going on, Rumble? Are you ready to rumble? Rumble. How we doing, yo? Welcome to today's Starlink launch. Just in time for the poop deck image. Awesome. Of course, I still love you now on the West Coast. Here they go. Scrub that poop deck, SpaceX. Looks beautiful down there in California, Southern California. Vandenberg Space Force Base. As the weather should look beautiful, right? It's California. It's nice that we don't have any fog in the way. That's a common occurrence with Vandenberg, but more particularly earlier in the mornings, I guess. I don't know. It's been a long time since we've seen a Vandenberg launch. What's it been, like 2-3 weeks, something like that? Before that, it's been months and months and months. Let's go ahead and muster up. Where you from? What you munching on? We got the locals chat up as well as the Rumble chat. For those of you on your phones, I'll also try to keep an eye on the comments. I'll have to scroll down there from time to time. Ian's back. What's going on, Ian? Good to hear you, or see you, or read you. Read you loud and clear. Man, that's such a great shot. I love it. I just want to stare at my screen and ignore you guys. We'll talk about the mission here in a sec. Let's continue with our muster. Fox Pup, what's going on? Familiar faces. Keith Mabe's back, Houston, Texas, drinking cafe. Nice. Yep, Andy is hosting this one. There he is. I think that's his name, Andy, right? Andy Tran. Light this candle. Rev Jim LT. And Arthur Potato Hammer, good to see you. Orlando, Florida. Popcorn, Indiana. Arm, good to see you back here. All right, so this is a Starlink launch. I guess I should look at the comments really quick. And physics package. Watching with 2 of my grandkids from Texas. Well, say hello to them for me. Good stuff, guys. Okay. So while we're waiting for T-0 in about 7 minutes, go to spacex.com/launches, Luna wipe. Nice, nailed it. Scroll on down, meow, get the synopsis. So this is the 4th mission for this booster. Okay. It doesn't say anything about the fairing halves, so maybe they're new. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. But it is going to, the first stage is going to land on the drone ship. Of course, I Still Love You that we just saw on screen a second ago. In the Pacific Ocean, specifically the Pacific. Keep going to the little diagram. It's beautiful. Now, last Vandenberg launch we saw a couple weeks ago, they landed the booster back out on the coast. But again, this one's going to be on the drone ship. So we'll have stage SEP. The booster will do a little flip maneuver, entry burn, and then dogleg maneuver to landing right there on the drone ship. Nice. That will happen about 8.5 minutes after liftoff. This mission will go on for over an hour. But again, it's a Starlink launch to the 4th shell, so I don't know if they're going to actually be able to show us video of the deployment. Regardless, I will not be able to stream that long. It is Friday. This is my SpaceX in the News episode day. Thursdays and Fridays and Mondays and Tuesdays, basically all weekdays. I'm freaking busy for me, so we'll have to cut this one short. But I want to tell you, you guys do not want to miss today's SpaceX in the News episode, especially the honorable mention. All right, it's going to be something special, let me tell you. Worked on it, wrote it all day yesterday. I had a late night last night. It was pretty painful, I won't lie. All right, let's get back to the webcast here. There's Dishy McFlatface. The older generation of the user terminals, now they look like iPads on a stick. First generation iPads on a stick, no longer UFOs on a stick. Well, so before we go, though, before we end the stream, we'll do a quick segment of Elon's base twats, so that will be coming up. Ian, yeah, Cafefe. No munchin', UK as usual.
You sound like you're from London.
What mug is it today? Oh, good question. We got the Space Eccentric mug. The logo, the brand. It's the first one I grab out of the cupboard. The lawyer wife hates it. I have so many mugs in our cupboard. Just drinking boring old plain old water today. Tap water. But strained through a Brita filter because, that's upper class. You got a smudge on your screen there, SpaceX. Oh, come on. Got to go big screen again. There it is. There's the smudge right there. Look at it. Look at it. It's real, brah. Smudge. Ooh, I like your setup there. You got Keith May, your control center. I like it. Good stuff. I wish I could there goes a strong back. I wish I could show you my setup. It's pretty complicated. These Rumble streams are pretty complicated to do, actually. I got 4 windows on one monitor, another window on the main monitor with my OBS and a file set up for Elon's base twats. And of course, I got the stream on the 3rd one. I could probably use about 8 more monitors, I think. Where is my cursor? There it is. I hate it when your cursor disappears on you. What's going on in Rumble's chat? Perry, Oklahoma, also a coffee drinker. China, I doubt that. But no food, blood test in the morning. Oh my gosh. Ooh, that is a great view of the strong back there with the umbilical cords hooked on into that rocket. Cut the cord, SpaceX. Let's do this thing. It's time to grow up. Cut the cords, plural. Oregon, what's going on? Good stuff, guys. Thanks for tuning in with me this morning or afternoon, depending on where you're from. Of course, I'm from Ohio, so we just entered into the afternoon about 10 minutes ago. If for whatever reason this delays, hopefully it won't, there's a backup opportunity tomorrow morning. And that would be morning for East Coast as well, because it's a little bit earlier. But we're not going to see that happen because this is going to go. This is go and it's going to go. What's up, San Jose? San Josie. Man, this makes me miss living in San Diego just a little bit. All right. Just for the weather and the beach and the water. That's where I was stationed for a couple of years. You guys have different usernames on Rumble, so it's hard to keep track of who's who. Rev Jim is Jimmy Johns from KC, Missouri. Just water. You and I are just the plain old boring water drinkers today. We're not as fancy as them coffee drinkers. Okay. T-minus 1.5 minutes. Again, if you're just joining us, this is a Starlink mission. And for Shell, if you don't know what Starlink is, it's SpaceX's own personal satellite constellation, so they can provide internet on a global scale. I don't personally have it yet, but I have pre-ordered it. Hopefully I get it sometime later this year, get my user terminal. And by then, SpaceX says my area here in Ohio should have even better coverage. She's peeking over the mountains. She's ready to do this thing. Let's turn the volume up. I'm ready.
We're going to be hearing the launch director give their final.
Are you ready?
Liftoff.
Are we ready?
LD is go for launch.
Folgers and an MRE for Fox
systems
Pup.
are go for launch. Let's listen in
What
to
a
terminal
champ.
count and watch as Falcon 9 takes our 50 Starlink satellites into orbit.
Let's do it. Hydration is good, okay. $10 for anyone who sees a whale jump out of the water back there. I'm looking.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff of Falcon Starlink 4.11.
Oh, look at those umbilicals. Awesome. Slow motion.
M1D chamber pressures are nominal.
Bye. Bye, Rocket. Take me with you.
T plus 42 seconds into flight, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from
Power and telemetry
Vandenberg
nominal.
Space Force Base, carrying our stack of 50 Starlink satellites to orbit. And moments
Cameraman's
ago, we began to
nervous.
throttle down the engines on the first stage in preparation for max Q. This is where the vehicle will experience
The glitch in
highest
the
amount of
Matrix.
pressures during ascent.
There we go. All right, max Q, maximum aerodynamic pressure. Ease that pressure off the nose.
Max Q.
And there was max Q. So we have a couple of events happening in quick succession in about a minute. First up, we'll have main engine cutoff, also known as MECO, followed by stage separation, and then second engine start one, also known as SES1. First up, main engine cutoff. This is where all 9 engines on the first stage will shut down in order to slow the vehicle down in preparation for stage separation. During stage separation, the first and second stages will separate from one another. The first stage will make its way back to our targeted landing zone. In this case, it's the drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, currently waiting in the Pacific Ocean. And the second stage will continue its journey with the third event, second engine start 1. This is where the single Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage will ignite and propel the second stage along with the Starlink satellites into orbit.
I can see Mexico. Should fly over Baja, California, right there along the coast. Interstage view.
MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
There she goes. Light the fires.
And back startup.
Boom. There goes the ring. Everything's looking good, at least from where I'm sitting. Inside the fairing, where the payload is.
Successful main
There they
engine
go.
confirmed. Stage separation, second engine start of the Merlin vacuum engine, and you just saw on screen that the fairing halves have been deployed from the top of our second stage. We've been flying reflown fairing halves since 2019, and today's fairings are flight proven, and we're going to be attempting to recover them when they return to Earth as well.
All right,
So
and the
as
way they
expected,
do
we got
that is they deploy chutes, brah, for those of you on Rumble who never catch a stream. Those fairing halves that you saw separate that, they're the nose cone that protect the payload as it ascends through the atmosphere. Those cost $3 million for each half, 6 total for a flight. And so SpaceX wants to reuse those. And the way they do it is they deploy chutes once they get back in the atmosphere. Big old Ram Air style skydiving chutes, bigger than usual. And they splash them down in the ocean, and SpaceX scoops them out of the drink like fishermen. They used to land them in these big-ass nets on these boats. They only did it successfully like a handful of times, and then they figured out, yeah, we can just scoop them out of the water. The thing is, like, saltwater, seawater, it does pretty decent corrosive damage to foreign objects that enter the water. I remember when I was in the Navy and we did these open water swims, we'd have these deflated life jackets with these little CO2 cartridges on them for emergency inflations if we needed them. And those things had to be immaculately cleaned before each swim. And, you know, we do a couple miles at a time, and by the time we were out, those things would be totally corroded by the seawater, and they were a pain in the ass to clean. So I can't imagine what goes into refurbishing these fairing halves. It's not a job I would like to do. But apparently SpaceX is confident enough that they got them down. They've reflown these fairings several times in the past. I'm not sure about these particular fairings that they're flying today, but obviously it's not a big enough chore to splash them down and scoop them up rather than catch them in a net. On the left-hand side, you got the camera looking down the first stage of the rocket, the booster, and these big old titanium grid fins will be used to steer the rocket towards the awaiting drone ship where it will land. And you might see poofs of cold nitrogen gas when we switch back to the camera we were just on. That's the RCS system. There it is, right there. Ooh, nice. It's always fun to watch. I once tried to calculate the PSI of those thrusters, and I think I came to the conclusion where I could reasonably assume that if you put your head or your face or try to put your mouth over one, they're pretty big, it would decapitate you. Now, I can't confirm that. That's for the Mythbusters to do. I don't recommend you try it at home if you own a SpaceX booster, but it's a lot. I can't remember the exact numbers for the PSI, but if you guys look it up, you might be able to find it. It took me forever to try to figure that out, and that was a couple years back. Right-hand side of your screen, we got a second stage view of the Merlin vacuum engine that's continuing to push those Starlink satellites to orbit. Once we get there in about an hour, they'll deploy them again. I don't think SpaceX will stream it. Maybe they will. I don't know. But once they do, they'll spend the next month or so using their onboard ion thrusters, and they'll raise their altitude so long as they're healthy. Coming in quickly on the left-hand side of your screen there for landing. We're going to do some cloud looking, it looks like. Let's do it. I'm excited.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
And you can see on screen, 3 of our 9 engines on the first stage have relit and are currently slowing down that booster. This burn is expected to last about 20 seconds.
Stage 1 entry burn shut down.
And with that, that is a successful entry burn. We have one more burn to go on the first stage in about a minute.
Stage 1 FTS is safe.
After the landing burn ends and we attempt our landing on our first stage, we're going to be listening for the call out for SECO, also known as second engine cutoff 1, and then a confirmation of good orbit. For today's mission, we are going to be having 2 coast phases. So after we shut off our second stage engine that you see on screen, we'll coast for about 40 minutes, and then we'll actually relight the engine for a few seconds, and then coast again before we deploy the satellites about a little after T+1 hour into the mission.
Stage 1 transonic.
Maybe they will stream it. I didn't hear whether they would or not, the deployment.
So we did lose video footage of the first stage. This can sometimes happen as the stage is traveling pretty quickly, but we do hear call-outs that it is continuing
terminal guidance
to make its way to our drone ship.
Bye, peeps. See ya, boy.
Stage 2,
Get back here.
safety.
Come on, booster.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Come on, drone ship
Of
cam.
our
Stay
drone
with us,
ship,
bro.
We just heard the call-out that the stage 1 landing burn has started. So if we are successful, this will be the 4th time that this booster has successfully landed.
Stay with us, brah. These drone ship cams aren't that reliable when it comes to
Stage
booster
1 landing
landings.
leg deploy.
Come back. Come back.
Hearing
Will
call-outs
come back.
that we did get the landing legs deployed. Waiting for audio or visual confirmation of that first stage, and there it
Stage 1
is.
landing
Poopy.
confirmed.
Right in the middle of our drone ship.
That's a
That
bullseye.
is a successful first stage landing, the 4th for this particular first stage booster.
Please clap.
So we did hear call out for successful second engine cutoff of the Merlin
Nominal
vacuum
orbit
engine.
insertion.
And that was the call out we were waiting for as well. Nominal orbital insertion. So now the second stage with our satellites are in a coast phase. Next up is second engine start 2, also known as SES2, and second engine cutoff 2, also known as SECO 2, which is scheduled to start around the T+53 minute mark. From there, we're going to have payload deploy occur just after the T+1 hour mark. Until then, we're going to take a short break, and we'll see you all back here in about 45 minutes. Until then, sit back and enjoy the space jams, and we'll see you soon.
You won't be seeing me, but I'm sure they'll be seeing some of you. We're going to do a segment of Elon's Base Twats here in a second, if you want, but then we're going to end the stream because I got to get back to doing today's SpaceX in the News episode. But if you want to continue watching SpaceX deploy the satellites in a little less than an hour, there is a link in the description below where it will take you to SpaceX's live stream. Okay. So, Mark Amaro says 4,500 PSI for gas thrusters. I can't confirm that, but that does sound right if my memory serves me correctly, which who knows because my memory sucks. But I think that was a number that I remember from way back when for those gas thrusters, that ACS system, RCS system. I guess Peeps decided to join us again. Welcome back, Peeps. Make up your melons, brah. In or out, man. Don't do that. Don't do it. You're going to embarrass me in front of my friends. No dick licking. Good boy. You good boy. All right. So I guess we'll do Elon's Base Twats. Let me get it set up really quick. Good afternoon, Detroit. How's it going? My broskies to the north. Good to hear from you. We'll go me only right quick. And take down the SpaceX live stream because I don't need it no more. All right. Sweet. Good stuff. Let's do this. Elon's Base Twats. Elon's Base Twats. Okay. So we have a few of them to go over, and we're going to try to make it kind of quick. So if you're not aware, Elon's in a fight with the government. Shocker. All right. And automatically I'm on his side because the government is derp. For the most part. I mean, I'm not an anarchist, but I view the government as extremely wasteful and for the most part useless, especially this government who calls its own citizens terrorists. Okay, so specifically, Elon has the biggest beef with the SEC. And this goes way back. I'm not going to go over all the reasons why, but they've been after him for the last few years because they basically think he is he's committing fraud. Like there's an investigation into him right now and his brother for alleged insider trading. You'll have to look that story up on your own. I read it. they're definitely after him and have targeted him. And Elon has said in the past he has no respect for the SEC. And I can't blame him. Here's the thing. If I were president, I don't know how long I would last, because this is what I would do. I'd basically shut down the entire government with the exception of, obviously the three branches, and we need to keep our military up and going like that. But the first thing I would do is I'd abolish the IRS. All right, don't need them. I get rid of all income tax, capital gains tax. I don't even want a flat tax. The only no death tax. The only tax I want is sales tax, consumption tax. That's it. If you buy something, no matter what it is, whether it's a new TV or your utility bill, tax that, and that's all the government gets. So that right there would automatically shrink the government. Now, you would lose a whole bunch of federal jobs. I say that's a good thing. All right, screw them. They're the most worthless employees in the world. And I mean that to be an offense to anyone who's working for the federal government. All right, you guys suck. Trust me, I used to work in that sector. I know. Enjoy your cushy jobs with big ass benefits that you don't deserve. Okay, so Elon is building a case with I believe it's Tesla against the SEC. He didn't start the fight, but he will finish it. The allegations are, is this my next tweet? No. The allegations are that the SEC has been leaking documents about this whole situation with Elon and the SEC, which, shocker, that wouldn't surprise any of us on the right or in the center right or right, because we know that the government always leaks things, like to the media, what have you, like they did to Roger Stone. CNN just happened to be at Roger Stone's house 15 minutes before the FBI raided his home and stuff like that. So they do this kind of stuff all the time. That's the whole issue behind Obamagate, how the government in the Clinton campaign leaked false information to the media. The media ran the stories, and then the FBI used those stories to justify their FISA warrants. Like, it's none of this surprises most of us. Again, if you want to learn about the fighting between Elon and the SEC, who he doesn't respect at all, you'll just have to look into it your own time. Next slide, please. The issues of Elon and his taxes are back. I don't know if they've ever left. And you'll see at the end of these slides here who's behind it again, who's the reason behind Elon tweeting about his taxes again. I'm pretty sure I paid the most taxes of any individual ever to California, but it isn't obvious what is done with my money, and that's the government for you. It goes back to why I don't respect the government as a whole. They waste money big time, and this Dogecoin person, I don't know who it is, making world-class roads and public transportation, definitely. Yep. Man, when I was driving into Starbase, like, Highway 4 is probably the most mismanaged road I think I've been on in a long time. There are so many potholes there, but again, you have to also look at all the heavy equipment they transport on it. And that's probably a legitimate question people would ask me if I was president. Kevin, what would you do with public transportation if you shut down all these agencies like Department of Interior and all that stuff? It'd be like, let private companies do it. Let the free market do its thing. Elon defending himself. The only reason I didn't pay federal tax in 2018 is because I overpaid in 2017. Since they stole my tax records, they actually know that, referring to the Democrats and people like Elizabeth Warren, socialist, vocal socialist, and oddly enough, former Republican a long time ago. Perhaps Elon will visit the IRS next time he's in DC just to say hi, since I paid the most taxes ever in history for an individual last year. Maybe I can have a cookie or something. Maybe you can get audited, right? Because that's the only thing you would ever get from the IRS. They don't hand out cookies. It still pisses me off that nobody's ever been held accountable for I think it was 2016, maybe 2015 IRS scandal when they targeted conservatives. Yeah. You bet your ass that if conservative did that to liberal organizations, or Democrat organizations, they'd for sure still be in prison right now. Just like the leaders of the Ottawa convoy. who were denied bail, even though people who literally committed arson and burned buildings to the ground were bailed out by politicians. Just like the January 6th people still sitting in prison because they trespassed. Anyway, I think that wraps up Elon's base twat. Elon's base twats. I'm going to check out chat really quick, then I'm going to have to call it a day. Okay. I'm a rapper. That rhymed. Call it a day, okay. Kevin, that is called the fair tax. All for getting rid of IRS and Social Security. The lawyer wife always takes a fry tax or an ice cream tax. He always eats my food. I call it the Obama tax. I think we're all on the same page in the chat when it comes to taxes. Yep. All about the free market. It has proven itself to be the king of all when it's not corrupted by dirty politicians, turning it more into a state of socialism. The less government is involved, for some reason, the better the things turn out for the rest of us. Ford was a good road when I was down there, says Ryan Ritter. It's got worse with heavy equipment. Yeah, I feel like when I was down there in 2019, I didn't have any issues. But when I went back there just the other week, holy cow, I had to swerve a lot. There were some pretty deep potholes. And it's like I was getting passed by all these SpaceX employees who were trying to get into work because it was during a shift change. And it's like they knew exactly where the potholes were because they were driving it so long. They were just swerving back and forth. It was kind of funny. Tourist traps. Good way to get local tourists to break down on the side of the road, I guess. Maybe it's all deliberate. We don't like your cons here. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap it up there. Sorry to cut this one short, but I got more work to do. I'm a working man today. So have a good... I don't know, a couple hours till I get my episode out. It's again, the honorable mention's pretty special. It's gonna take me, I got it all written. I got most of my B-roll ready to go. I just gotta film it now, and then I gotta edit it, which takes the longest. I'm hoping to have it out by 5 p.m. Eastern time, hopefully. Still got plenty of work to do. So until next time, which would be later today, Godspeed.